Good day, ladies and gentlecolds. Penny Wrights here, giving you the hoopla one quill stroke at a time. Today we look at a fan favorite and not so favorite character who blew up mental illness by storm with antisocial and sociopathic behavior.
Shout out mental illness. Shout out mental illness.
Okay, that's just mean. Starlight Glimmer came into the show as a passive villain to vengeful Time Lord to being more involved than most side characters that have been in the show since the beginning. Maybe it's because she was new, or maybe because we keep saying she's another Twilight clone, like other characters I like. But I'm brave enough to give credit where credit is due. No, not that type of credit. Anyway, we're looking at my favorite traits of a fandom black sheep and seeing why we should either make her an alicorn or just have her be more interesting than most royalty characters. By the way, this is in no particular order since I can't choose. There's just so many moments and reasons to like this character's existence that it's just a breath of fresh air. So let's get a lungful and take a look.
Life is so grand in our town. We're always filled with cheer.
So let's start with the first reason. Starlight is straightforward and normal about it. So what I mean by this is, yes, a lot of characters can have feelings and be straightforward about important things, but sometimes you get lines delivered by Starlight that not many people would say flat out.
Oh, if this is about brunch, you know what? Jalapeno red velvet omelets sound gross. I just can't.
She has these moments of not being careful of how she says things or how it sounds, and sometimes she catches it and sometimes it's without remorse.
I traded the old, worn-out wagon that was too small for us for this nice, new, spacious one that we can both enjoy. Who said you could do that? No, Pony. I just did it.
It makes for some great comedic moments and makes us have a sugarcoat copy from Equestria Girls without the deadpan voice.
You are kind of being a doormat right now.
And the thing that makes it normal is that it works for her character. I'm not sure if it's just because she knows her faults and mistakes and doesn't really let it haunt her for some characters. You leave my moon princess alone. But more so, she doesn't want to shy away from her past. It's like she wants us to remember how she messed up time to get revenge on someone. But with her being so forward and okay with it, it makes her kind of stronger than the ones who try to forget their past while keeping some of the antics, or keep it quiet unless asked. She knows it's a part of her, but it's not who she is anymore. Well, other than a few slip-ups. I'm looking at you, every little thing she does. Okay, next one. Starlight is a passive villain. So when I say a passive villain, I mean she's not flashy or exuberant. She's not capturing royalty to take over the world.
Of course!
She's not draining love to take over the world.
Of course!
She's not trying to bend reality to make her ruler and take over the world.
Of course!
Okay, we get it! She really didn't do anything but have a different ideology, and Twilight and her friends just so happened to find her small town in the middle of nowhere and said, yeah, this ain't right. You need to stop this. There was a small moment of her having bigger plans about her beliefs and having the princess agree with her, but it didn't really build up to anything.
When the rest of Equestria sees that a princess gave up her cutie mark to join us, they'll finally understand what we're trying to accomplish.
She wasn't boasting about this, and who knows, she might have had a 5-year plan of how to turn the world into a giant equal sign, but was cut short due to a lawful good coming in and ruining her lawful evil. She is a careful planner regardless of not having the social cues to say, maybe not break down the moment your friend leaves for school.
Oh, what do you normally do when I'm gone?
Wait for you to get back.
Maybe I don't always want a big baddie, but someone who subtly wants to make changes and have her ideologies heard as law. You know, like all politics. To me, it makes her one of my favorite villains regardless of how simplistic her plans were. Even when coming back for revenge against Twilight, her plans seemed simple enough. Break up the main six and make it so they never become friends in the first place. We see she has the powerful magic to go toe-to-toe with an alicorn, even one that was powerful before the upgrade. She could have just destroyed them all one by one as kids. Heck, even having killed Rainbow Dash would have done the trick. I neither confirm nor deny a thing. Just the fact that she wanted to accomplish her goals, but not necessarily want to kill anyone, makes her kind of interesting. And the thing is, even though she brushed off how important the main six was to all of Equestria, I don't know if she thought how things would have been. I mean, she should be aware that they have made things better and gotten rid of high-powered villains. So where was she gonna go after stopping the rain boom? Would she stay in the past just to screw with the younger main six? Would she be twice as old or go for the Fountain of Youth treatment? Did she know what the future was going to look like when she got back? Who knows? Girl was impulsive regardless of her planning. And that still made things more interesting to think about. Like, maybe her redemption could have been more like Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. She goes back to the present, see how any of the futures worked, feels reluctant about what she did, and maybe talks to Twilight about what she saw and if this was her fault. Funny enough, they did do this with their Christmas Carol episode with Starlight being the Scrooge of the story, but I think realizing her own mistakes would have made for a more compelling redemption story. I mean, we've seen her reaction when Twilight was trying to give her a friendship speech for the first time.
Every pony has unique talents and gifts, and when we share them with each other, that's how we—
Quiet!
Oh. Let's move on to the next one. The oddball making friends with more oddballs. Now, who would have thought that someone with social issues would befriend a deadpan rock lover, a changeling at the time where their species is on Canterlot's most wanted list, an egotistical illusionist, and a childish god of death? For someone who was deemed a communist, believing in everything being the same, she has the most unique characters around her after reforming. Some of these characters are not traditionally viewed as normal citizens. You know, bland, quick to panic, sheep mentality to gravitate to anything new or be mortified by it. Basically a lot of unique traits that you don't see in a character unless to amplify how different they are. Maud's deadpan voice and lack of expression, Thorax's eagerness to be friends and redeem his species, Discord's need for attention from certain people, and Trixie's... Okay, not much to explain there. But she has a knack for finding the good in these type of characters, even though she kind of landed most of her friend group through circumstances in Season 6 to where and back again. At least with Maud and Trixie, she got to know both of them on a personal level. And Sunburst was already a childhood friend, but just as awkward as Starlight, especially when she had to explain that him leaving for school turned her into a cult leader. She even has a bit of an immature side, showing an uncommon bond where Sunburst hangs out with the other friends of Starlight. Or chipping fuel, if that's what you want to call it. She gets distant and that feeling of abandonment comes back a little bit from her childhood trauma. I think it just helps that the friends Starlight made are just as flawed as she is sometimes. It's easy to identify with being the silent type, or being awkward nerd type, or being the egotistical type, or being Trixie. I will, whenever I feel like doing that. Anyway, next title. She's one of the better Twilight clones.
I'm sorry, but you can't blame me. You both look and act so much alike.
What?
Yeah, it's no surprise that the moment these two get together is to bond over how powerful they are. Not to mention how antisocial and obsessed with studying magic both characters can be. I talked more about this when comparing the Clone Wars in another video. Sunset Shimmer might still be my favorite Twilight clone personally, but Starlight was probably the more relatable of the three. When Sunset tried friendship and fails at it, she feels bad and blames herself. She takes everything way too hard, and it does bring out the sympathy points when you just want to tell her, hey, it's okay. When Starlight fails, it's met with more of an oopsie doodles.
Please. Enough!
Did I do that?
It's almost like they have Starlight be a sort of anti-Twilight. And no, I don't mean just recolorizing the Twilight model. Twilight avoided interactions for bigger ambitions in studying. Sunset avoided interactions for bigger ambitions in domination. And Starlight avoided interactions for the sake of not hurting her own feelings again. It feels so minuscule given Twilight and Sunset's reasons to avoid friendship, but in Starlight's case, she wasn't even ready to open up to other friends after reforming. Her first time just trying to hang out with one of the main six turned into brainwashing, flooding the castle, and a large amount of cakes being baked. Honestly, I don't see a problem with that third one. After Rainbow Rock, Sunset became a better friend to the Humane Six, and even with the human Twilight in the mix, she still mostly led the group. While Starlight was still barely friends with the main six and had to find her own friends, she was reluctant. Not because of the cutie mark thing from her childhood, but because the whole brainwashed town and altering the time-space continuum. I mean, it happens, right?
Liar, liar, plants for hire.
Oh, you shush. Okay, last thing. A support character that brings support. So when you have your main characters, you also have reoccurring side characters who have their own storyline and a strong connection to the main characters. The Cutie Crusaders are a good example of this, being related to members of the main six and having their own storyline about their cutie marks and where to go once they've obtained them. Starlight's connection is as Twilight's first student, but it's not all that she is. She kind of has a personality that grounds people when they panic. Whether it be snarky remarks or just being there as a reality check, Starlight plays the support character that not only helps the main characters, but also makes her personality stand out and even gets a few laughs.
But I just know Flurry Heart's grown so much already. I wonder if I'll even recognize her.
She's the only baby they have, Twilight. I think it'll be pretty easy to figure out who she is. If this is about brunch, you know what? Jalapeno red velvet omelets sound gross. I just can't.
Turn into a teacup. No, teacup. No, teacup. Oh, no. Oh, Starlight, I can't put a trick that's not working into my act. How come it's not working?
It could be because you're just yelling, teacup, and not picturing it in your mind.
As an audience, she says what she's usually thinking, and yeah, it can get her glared at for a few times, but what she's saying is usually the truth. A really good example of this is Fame and Misfortune, with the main six having some mixed reviews on their book. Starlight not only found the ponies that needed to talk to the main six to help them, but she supported everyone without being shoved to the background. Even with the Pony of Shadows in Season 7's finale, she supported the main characters along with the pillars, but still said her piece about what didn't feel right.
I guess I'm lucky your idol wasn't around when you decided to be my friend. I might have been banished to limbo too.
Even during Spike's song in The Times They Are A-Changing, even as Spike was the one to reach out to Thorax first, we see Starlight react to the song, thinking back on how she's changed when she thought she was far too gone. It was a small moment that they wanted to animate, and she wasn't even the next person to approach Thorax after the song was done. But it was still an impactful moment in Starlight's character. Even for her to change a changeling when she heard Thorax might be stressed, she and Trixie came for a visit for moral support.
Trixie, we're coming to offer Thorax encouragement and support. His letters make it seem like the responsibilities of being the changeling leader are a little overwhelming.
And with Twilight School, she's become the guidance counselor for not just the students, but the main six as well. So it all shows that she wants to be helpful, but not dominate the situation. She just wants to help and be a support for others, and she can do so without losing her personality or fading into the back. And honestly, after rewatching To Change a Changeling, she's literally the only person who can support someone like Trixie. I'll eventually talk about Trixie, okay? I know Starlight Glimmer has had her rough start, and a lot of fans were kind of torn between liking or disliking her, whether reformed or not. But I think that's what makes her interesting to talk about. She's not much of a reformed villain, but someone who was given a chance to grow up from her childhood trauma. She makes a lot of impulsive decisions for the right reason. She's straightforward without actually being mean or annoying. And even when trying to fix her mistakes or fix other people's mistakes, she can be apologetic but not sad and groveling. I like that she's kind of lighthearted about her mistakes only because she knows she's not perfect and will probably make more mistakes as said in the parent map.
Dad, I know I've made some mistakes, and I'll probably make a bunch more, but I learned from them. I think that's what growing up is.
But it makes her a real and relatable character who I'm glad to say is one of my favorites. Not a side character, not a main character, but an everything character. And trust me, I know all about happy accidents. Right, Pony Sonic? Whatever.
Life is so grand in our town. We're always filled with cheer. We never have to look around to know that